Good evening. This is Bronson's by any means necessary fantasy basketball talk for Thursday, February 18th. Think? No, it's 17th. This last video date was 14th, which is Valentine's Day, which was Monday. 17th, February 17th, 2022. This will be my Spikes and Yikes for basketball for today. No waiver wire video again this week. I know I didn't do one last week because I was kind of on hiatus in videos. I'm not going to do a waiver wire video again until after the All-Star break because I think I haven't looked ahead to look at the schedule, but I think tomorrow is the first day of the week-long All-Star break. That's why. So if you look at your fantasy basketball matchups, you'll see that it's a 2-week matchup because you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, and we're taking a whole week off basically, and you won't have any games again until like maybe next Thursday, and then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So also if you're in a league with matchup limits, you've got a little bit more leeway this week too. In my money league, we have a matchup max of 52 normally in a week. This week we have 9. So yeah, so I think they gave us 7 for the extra day, or whatever it is. Oh well. What's going on in my life that's worth talking about? Oh, the coworker that I have wanted it fired for the last few months. He was causing a lot of stress in my work life. He was causing a lot of tension. I just didn't like him. He just had no work ethic. He just never wanted to do anything. I felt like I had to hold his hand like he was a child to get him to do anything. It's like, no, I can't deal with people like that. I need people like me downstairs, people who are proactive, people who go out, find work to do, and self-starters. And this guy was not a self-starter. He finally got himself fired yesterday. Finally, after months of everybody complaining, like nobody liked this guy. I mean, he was a nice enough guy. I'll give him that. Nice guy, very personable, very outgoing. Made friends easily with coworkers, but he just was a terrible worker, and complaints from everybody for months about this guy. He was completely useless to me. I always had to clean up after him because he didn't do anything right, or he just wouldn't show up, or when he would show up, it was after the busiest part of the day when I didn't need his ass anymore. So he finally got his ass fired because everybody's been complaining about this guy for months, but my boss never wanted to do anything because he never saw him not doing what he was supposed to do. But my boss caught him. He was hanging out in a part of the airport that obviously the guy has if the guy put as much time into actually doing his job as he did into finding hiding spots where he knows people will look for him, he would have been a good worker. But he found a spot. Many of us suspected that he was hiding somewhere in the airport because he would disappear for hours at a time sometimes, and nobody would know where he was. We know where his spot was now, but my boss found him down there. I don't know what my boss was doing down there really. I think it's a newer part of the airport, a part of the airport that we are trying to expand into. We have a restaurant that hasn't opened down there yet, but they're in the process of opening it. So that may have been why my boss was in that area. He caught him down there on his phone, just chilling. And my boss asked him, "What are you doing down here? Are you on break?" And the guy straight up lied to his face, said, "Yes, I'm on break." And then my boss, followed up on it, went and checked, to make sure that he was actually clocked out for a break, because we have to clock out for all of our breaks, whether they're paid breaks or unpaid breaks, which lunch is an unpaid break. And he did not clock out for his break, and he's been, it's not the first time he's been talked to about that either. When he first started, he had trouble remembering to clock in or clock out, or for breaks, or even when he showed up. So not a first offense there, but my boss caught him in a lie, and finally, making me maybe perhaps believe that there is a God up there after all. Again, I have a complicated relationship with a higher power and my belief in my faith, but he's gone. So that is it's a huge relief off my back, because it was getting to the point where I was going to give my boss an ultimatum. I was like, you need to get rid of this guy or I'm quitting, because I am tired of being disrespected by you on a daily basis, by you allowing him to stay, because he calls in all the time, or no shows, or he's tardy. He just has no care about punctuality or this job at all, and yet you expect me to be here every single day on time, or you throw a shit fit. But this guy can walk all over that and not care. And I was feeling very disrespected by my boss. I was feeling very disrespected by him, by being a completely useless employee and not even being any help to me at all. It was causing a lot of tension, and it was driving my attitude about my job very south. And so I'm glad that he's gone. We've got another new guy who I trained last week. He's very good. He's a lot like me. So I'm very thankful for that. So if I do decide to move on, because I am considering leaving the state, moving somewhere else, I know that the commissary is in good hands with this guy, because he sounds like a guy who is in it for the long term, for the long haul. I've trained him. He's a lot like me. He's really good. He could potentially be better at this job than me. And I'm not trying to say I'm God's gift to commissary or anything, but I know that I'm damn good at my job. So I wanted to train this guy to be like me. He's a self-starter, proactive, hard worker, good worker, find stuff to do. He has a grocery background, so he knows like common sense things that you think someone would know, like you gotta rotate the product, all of that stuff. He just inherently knows this. He's great. So I'm very happy. We're getting another new guy next week who I'll be training again, hopefully. I'm not expecting him to be as great as this other new guy, but I do hope that he's good, real decent, and not like, the guy that just got fired. Also, UPS is really screwing with my paycheck, because I got paid this morning. I was expecting, I guess I shouldn't say expecting, I'm still working on this no expectation stuff, but given I can do simple math, I can calculate my rate of pay against my hours, right? And then the retention bonus that we're supposed to be getting of $150 a week, right? So I did the math, and my check should have been 3 digits. It should have had a 2 in front of it, or at the very least, a 1, and then maybe an 8 and a 9 following that. Should have been high hundreds, low 200s. I got a $66 paycheck this morning. I don't know what the hell is going on. Obviously, they didn't give me my bonus. So my boss is going to work on that. So I may get that in a couple of days. He said Saturday morning, possibly Monday. I get that. He's going to retroactively fix that. So that's probably going to get fixed. But I'm still wondering where the hell the rest of my money went. It's possible that it was union due week. They take that stuff out randomly every month. They never tell us when they're taking it out. So that's a possibility of where my money went. But still, that doesn't explain how I went from... okay, so I didn't get the $150 bonus. Okay, so if it was Union Due week, then yes, I guess I understand why I got $66. But still, it's very disappointing. That $66 is not going to cover my transportation for the next 5 days. So I'm already committed to getting up super early tomorrow morning and walking across the bridge because I can't ride my bike because I haven't got that fixed yet. Because I don't know what the hell happened to my chain or my gear, but it's supposed to be like down like this on the tire. It was up and like stuck in my spoke. I don't know what the hell happened. And I don't really have a whole lot of time to fix it during my work week. So, and I'm also waiting to get paid, so I'm probably going to take it into a bike shop and get it repaired by someone who knows what the hell they're doing, because I am not mechanically inclined. And also, I don't like getting the oil all over my hands because it's a little tough to get off. I don't want to, I don't like showering at night because it feels pointless to me. I'd much rather get up and shower in the morning, but when I get up, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. And I'm going to bed like 9, 10. So I'm not getting enough sleep as it is. And so I'm not getting up an extra 15 minutes early to take a shower before I go to work. That's just not what I do these days. But yeah, anyways, let's talk basketball. 11 and a half minutes in. My 4 spikes in fantasy basketball this week. We're going to start with Ben Simmons. We're going to start with the one big name I've got on my list. The other 3 are deeper league guys, dynasty league guys, categories guys, guys. But one big name, Ben Simmons, finally got traded. Finally out of Philly. Seems to be much happier in Brooklyn than he was in Philly. He's not going to play right away. He's a couple weeks out from playing, maybe a month, but he'll be back just in time for the fantasy playoffs, which is great for me because I've been holding him on my IR in my money league all season. Currently, I'm looking pretty good for the playoffs. I'm in the 4 spot, 6 teams get in, but it would be really nice to have that ace in the hole, get Ben Simmons back in time for the playoffs. Maybe I can make a deep run. Other guys I'm liking right now, Matisse Thybulle. I hate to talk up a University of Trashington player, but if you have Matisse Thybulle in a categories league, he's going to win you steals and blocks basically by himself on a weekly basis because he is just that good. The guy cannot shoot. The guy is not an offensive weapon at all. He's really only useful in deeper leagues, and he's definitely not useful in points leagues. But in categories leagues, man, Matisse Thybulle is a must-own player for his steals and blocks alone. He is absolutely incredible defensively, and I just acquired him in one of my dynasty leagues, in one of my leagues where I'm trying to win this year. I got him, and he got me the first game I had him. He got me 6 steals. I was like, that is fantastic. That's 6 steals, man. That's right there. It's gonna win the week for me. So, yeah, happy with Matisse Thybulle. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with Bradley Beal out for the season and Spencer Dinwiddie having been traded. It's the Raul Neto and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope show in the backcourt for the Wizards. Now, Raul Neto probably still won't be super fantasy relevant because he's just not that great. He's nothing spectacular on offense, but volume and opportunity create relevance, and he has both of those in spades. But Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is the guy we're talking about today because he is capable of putting up good offensive numbers, as he has shown in the last couple of games. It appears, who knows how long this will last, that he's become a very fantasy relevant player at the shooting guard spot, and he may, for the foreseeable future, even possibly the rest of the season, although I doubt it, Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to be the guy, but Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at this point in time is the number 2 guy in Washington offensively. And lastly, Justice Winslow. Justice Winslow is back in the fantasy relevance on a rebuilding or possibly retooling Portland team right now. It's great to see him being productive after the hip replacement, because I was very wary of him ever being a productive NBA player again, because he wasn't super great before the hip injury. He had a lot of potential, a lot of athleticism, great defensive player. Just could never put it together offensively. He's basically Matisse Thybulle, except not quite that dynamic defensively. But Matisse Thybulle is so good on defense. It doesn't matter. He never has to shoot. He never has to learn to shoot. He's going to have a spot on a team. I mean, he's kind of like Ben Simmons. The only problem is Ben Simmons was always supposed to be a star. And the fact that he can't shoot or be relied upon in the playoffs is a huge problem. Matisse Thybulle is not going to have that problem. And Justice Winslow is never going to have that problem again. But I'm very happy to see him producing alongside Josh Hart. Him and Josh Hart have been fantastic since coming to Portland. And it bodes well for the future. I hope that Justice Winslow can keep this up, and Portland keeps them both heading into the next season. Now moving on to the Yikes in fantasy basketball. A lot of injuries for some big names, and also a guy who's really struggling. Starting with Zion Williamson. The news today is he's facing a second foot surgery, which is going to put him out for the rest of the season. He hasn't played a single minute so far this season already, so he was already looking like a huge fantasy bust. Now it's about to be confirmed that he's a huge fantasy bust for this season, and it's pretty clear that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans anymore, and he may in fact be a draft bust entirely. But there's a lot of talk right now on all the experts and talking heads about Zion Williamson and his career trajectory, looking awful lot like Greg Oden's career trajectory, and that's not the kind of career or the kind of player you want to be compared to in the NBA. So, what can I say? Another Duke player who didn't pan out. I mean, really the only one that really has lived up to the billing is Jason Tatum. I mean, I guess you count Kyrie, but I don't count Kyrie, because Kyrie played like half a season for Duke. He didn't even finish the year for Duke. It wasn't even, I don't even think it was half a season, like a third of a season. It was like 10, 11 games out of a 32 game, 35 game season. So I don't count Kyrie as having gone to Duke, and Kyrie's a little odd. He's a little off. He's a very talented player. Doesn't really seem to care much about basketball, and so you can't call Kyrie a bust though, because he's got a championship. He's been an all-star, great player. Has he lived up to the hype that he came out of college and high school with? Debatable. The only one who has, for sure, Jason Tatum. Moving on, Gordon Hayward. More bad news about Gordon Hayward, who's become quite injury prone since leaving Utah. He has a broken foot, and he's out indefinitely. Indefinitely is definitely not a term you want to hear when it comes to injury. So Gordon Hayward definitely going to be out through the All-Star break. Obviously, the All-Star break is soon, very soon, but could be out the rest of the season. So Gordon Hayward, if he's plugging up your IR, Gordon Hayward's a good player, but he's not the kind of player. He's not like a Zion or Ben Simmons, a guy that you kind of just have to hold and be patient with on your IR. Gordon Hayward's not that kind of player. He's someone you can definitely drop if you need the IR spot for someone like Malcolm Brogdon, or who else is currently here, James Harden, something like that. If you need that IR spot, Anthony Davis, you need the IR spot. And another guy who could be on this list, he's out for a month. If you need that IR spot, go ahead and move on from Gordon Hayward. Pick up somebody who is going to provide you help now. In the meantime, as Gordon Hayward should likely be available whenever he does return to the court, if he returns to the court. Devontae Graham, really good player. Made the most of his abilities. Became a starter, a really good sixth man and a good shooter, one of the better shooters, or more prolific shooters in the league. But he has really been riding the struggle bus for the last 2 weeks, week and a half. Really ever since the trade deadline, for sure. And the trade deadline didn't really seem to affect him. It actually kind of helped him because Nickeil Alexander-Walker is gone. So that opened up more minutes at a guard spot for Devontae Graham. But he's not playing well. He's playing himself right onto the bench. And Devontae Graham has played himself off my fantasy rosters because it's just been bad. There's better players out there right now. Until Devontae Graham, if Devontae Graham turns it around, he should be on your waiver wire. And lastly, real quickly, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I just want to talk about him real quick. He's injured again. He's out for a lengthy period of time again. This happens every year for the Oklahoma City. They shut him down. He gets hurt with the mystery injury, and then they shut him down for the season because they want to tank to get a better draft position. Well, I hope that doesn't happen again this year, but it's a recurring theme. It very well could. But for his sake, I hope not, because he's a really good player, a player that basketball fans really want to see, a player that casual fans may not know about because he plays in Oklahoma City, because he misses so many games. It's costing him recognition. It's costing him. Sorry, my phone was alerting me to the dying battery. It's costing him, all-star trips. It's costing him all NBA team recognition, which is ultimately what's going to get him paid in the long run. And I know he wants to get paid. So there's a lot of rumors circulating that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is getting very unhappy with Oklahoma City, and that would really be a detriment to the Thunder's rebuilding plan, which I personally do not give a shit about, because they should still be the Seattle Supersonics. That team was stolen, in my opinion, and I hope they never win anything, ever. So hopefully Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does force his way out to another team. So it set Sam Presti back in his rebuild. However, Oklahoma City does have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They do have Josh Giddey. They will most likely have another high pick this year to get another star. So they could potentially have 3 stars after this next year's draft. So the future, unfortunately, currently looks bright for the Thunder. But I'm tracking this SGA, as he's affectionately known. I'm tracking these rumors. I'm tracking this story because I don't blame him one bit if they do shut him down again and he misses out on all NBA teams again and isn't eligible for the Supermax or these big extensions that all these other players of his caliber are getting. So I wouldn't blame him one bit, and I am secretly hoping that he says, fuck this. I don't want to play for this crappy franchise anymore. Please trade me anywhere else. That would be delightful. So I'm tracking that. Despite my hatred of the Thunder, I want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get the recognition that he deserves, because he's a very unique player, a very good player, a player that I was never really impressed with him in his year at Kentucky. I didn't think he was going to be this good. But I'm glad that Oklahoma City has provided him the opportunity to develop and become the player that he has become. It remains to be seen if he could be that kind of player on a competitive team. But that doesn't take anything away from what he has been able to accomplish in a short period of time. He's a very good fantasy guard when he is available. And I'm not going to, hold his lack of availability against him, because I don't think it's mostly his fault. I think it's mostly his horrible franchise and their decision-making and their active tanking more than it is him. So, yes, I'm tracking the situation with keen eyes, hoping that he decides to force his way out. So that's the bad news. The way he's making my Yikes side of the equation is because he's hurt again. And, you know, I hope that he's able to come back and play again this season because I do have him on several teams. And my money league is one of them. So, all right. I'm going to call it a night. Once again, I talked far longer than I thought I would. My phone is dying. Anyway, I'm a little tired. Probably going to go to bed since I got to get up at 1:15 in the morning to walk the 2.5 or 3 hours across the bridge. My already long work day is going to get even longer. My life is great. I need another trip. I need another vacation. But another reason why I'm going to be stubborn and walk across the bridge because I want my money from UPS for me. I'm tired of losing money going to work. Like, what kind of shit is that? Losing money going to work. Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? You're supposed to go to work to get money? I'm not going to work and getting money. I'm losing money going to work. So I'm tired of that. I want my money for my vacations, not to make the wallets of Lyft fat because I hate the company. So, yeah. Peace, love, and nacho fries. Hang loose. Good night.